Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Monday morning at Baitul Asghar, the residence of Hazrat Wala in Wasiabad, Allahabad, UP, India. Monday, the 30th of Zulqa'dah, corresponding with the English date, 19th, Monday, the 29th of Zulqa'dah, 1444, corresponding with the English date, 19th of June 2023. Hazrat Wala starts off this majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Thereafter, Hazrat Wala goes on to say that Hazrat Haji Imdadullah said to Hazrat Tanvi, Ashraf Ali, translate this kitab, it will be of great benefit to the people. So much so, he done such a magnificent job thereafter on the instruction of his Sheikh and his Peer, that the great masters of language, translation, etc. in this field from Darul Uloom Deoband had even come then forward to say that nobody could have done a translation of this type or this caliber. So, رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا وَبِمُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ نَبِيًّا. So in this particular article or sentence, رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا, I am pleased to have Allah as my Rabb, Islam as my deen, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as my Nabi. In it is deen encapsulated, Tawheed and Risalat, Muhyiddin. So here, let's read. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, the author is saying here that know well that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then opened up the heart of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam with the nur of his pleasure, and he had blessed him with the essence, the ruh and the reality of total submission and handing himself over to Allah. Allah ta'ala protected his heart from glancing towards the makhluk and looking at them in any way whatsoever. Therefore, that fire then returned or changed in such a manner that it became cool and a source of peace. But this does not happen for anyone except for that person whose heart has been handed over. He has handed over his heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if a person hands himself over to Allah, total and complete submission, then such a person will be in peace. And when a person does this here, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also blesses him with karamat and with izzat. So here we're speaking about Mumbasit, that Allah ta'ala has opened up and made so vast and open and great the heart of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, opened it up with his pleasure. On that point there, Hazrat Wala then remarks and quotes the incident of Sayyidina Muhyiddin ibn Arabi rahimahullah, when he comes and stands in front of the Hajarul Aswad. At that time, Sheikh recites the Shahadatain, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Hajar Aswad then becomes vast, so vast, it starts opening up completely. You know, a miracle, what we say. And Hajar al-Aswad then starts speaking and saying that I have taken your shahadat and I've put it within me, and I will open up and present it to Allah on the day of Qiyamah. You know, so he said there that the Hajar al-Aswad became vast, Mumbasit, Here the same word was used, describing how Allah Ta'ala opened up and made so vast the heart of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to quote this incident of Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi rahimahullah abundantly. So a person is put in ibtila. Allah Ta'ala himself says that he has tested Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. So according to that test, that is also how much Allah Ta'ala then gives in'am and blesses a person. And when this type of thing comes, what is created in the heart of a person? Capacity, salahiyat. Why was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent to or made to go to the cave of Hira? There was a reason there to create that type of capacity. So we're speaking about this heart and how this heart is. So Allah Ta'ala blessed Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam tremendously. Don't you see how great it was? His tests and how he excelled. That after that, in the durood and the salawat that we recite until the day of Qiyamah, the durood sharif, when we are sending durood and salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we couple it and we side by side also send salawat upon Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. You know, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to say, people came to Hazrat Tanvi and someone would say that, oh, Hazrat stands like this, Hazrat sits like this, Hazrat does this and Hazrat does that. Somebody's nazar and gaze was on this, someone's gaze was on that. He says that when I went there, I put my gaze completely and totally on his heart, and my cry and plea to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was that, oh Allah, bless me with that wealth, that daulat, which is the heart of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib. Mujhe de de. What was it? Wara. It was piety. And what was it? Qamar. That the heart is clean of any type of desires or turning to anyone else. This greed and this hopes in people. So here, the author goes on to say, therefore, understand from this whole incident, O believer, that the person who hands himself over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the time of examination, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will turn those thorns into beautiful flowers, and Allah ta'ala will exchange that fear and bless them with the treasure of peace. Therefore, when shaitan throws you in the catapult of challenge, trial and examination, and then the entire world present itself to you, the entire world presents itself to you saying, Alaka haja, listen, do you need anything? So then at that time, faqul, amma ilayki fala wa amma ilallahi fabala. Yes, listen, from you, you're asking me if I have any need. No, not at all. Yes, from Allah, most definitely I am in need and I can present my problems there. If then they say to you again, then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So at that time, tell them that Allah's knowledge of my condition suffices me from asking Him. Allah can see what I am going through. So when you hand yourself over to Allah completely and totally, then Allah Ta'ala then will return, extinguish that fire of the dunya and replace it with peace and make it absolutely cool for us. And Allah Ta'ala will bless with boons and honor, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened up for the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam and the messengers, the Anbiya, the pathways of Hidayat. And okay. So here, Hazrat Wala is saying that we're speaking about the heart and what is in the heart, the great wealth that's in the heart. So, you know the incident of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala, and when he walked into the Jama Masjid of Basra, and he seen people giving nasihat halqas there in the different sections of the masjid, and he asked them that who has given you permission? You can't just come here and give waz. There are certain sharait and prerequisites and conditions that you need to have in yourself. Therefore, I will examine you and I will test you. He comes across Ali radiallahu ta'ala. He asks him that, listen, what is the foundation of deen? Ali radiallahu ta'ala says, it is wara, it is piety. And he says, what is the most destructive thing? He says, it is that of tama, where a person has got his hopes and his desires, everything tied up with people, not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what was this great lesson that was being taught over and over again? Here we're reading in the waqiyah of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, and from our pious predecessors as well. What is it? It is Tawheed Khalis. Pure, unadulterated Tawheed and oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the wealth that was taught and passed over. Not to have any type of hopes or your attention or your gaze focused towards the makhluk. Hazrat Haji Imdadullah was in totally complete poverty. And Maulana Rahmatullah Saheb, a great personality, the founder of Madrasa Solatiya. So what did he say? He said, Haji Saheb, listen, look at your condition in that. Let me, when I go to the Sultan, let me make mention of you to him. So he says, listen, don't make mention of me in front of the Sultan. हरगिज जिक्र न करे, वो खुश हो जाएंगे, मुझे बुलाएंगे, और मैं नहीं चाहता हूँ कि मैं बैतुल्लाह चोर करके बैतुस सुल्तान को तरजीह दे. He says, please don't ever do this here. He may become pleased with me, due to which he'll call me, and I don't want to forsake and leave the Baytullah, the Haram, in exchange and go abandon the Baytullah and then go and stay in Baytul Sultan, the palace of the king. You know, Hazrat Wala is speaking about his Ustad, Mufti Nizamuddin, when he was teaching us this Bosta, etc. And he would say that this kitab is so wonderful. I wish that I can memorize one share that is written in this particular kitab, how deep it is in meaning and such great lessons that it gives. Somebody asked Hazrat Tanvi that this is going to happen. What we're going to do, and this is going to happen, and what will happen, and how, and when. So Hazrat Tanvi said that, did it happen? So he said, no. So he says, so what's the thing? He says, it's going to happen. So he says that, why are you worrying about something that's still coming? Why are you mutu qabla an tamutu? Why are you dying before you can actually die? When that time comes, we will see at that time what to do. So now the author then goes on to say that also followed in their footsteps those people who had complete yaqeen, like how Allah Ta'ala directs us to this subtle point that where it's stated in the Quran, قُلْ هَذِهِ, say that this is my path, أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ, that I'm calling towards Allah, عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ, with this insight Ana, myself, and whoever follows me. Now Allah Ta'ala speaks about Yunus alayhi salatu wasalam and says, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْغَمِّ وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. We had accepted from him and saved him from grief. وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And similarly, we will continue giving najat and salvation to whoever follows in the footsteps of Yunus alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever has shauq for the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are standing in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in front of Allah they are displaying and expressing their helplessness, they are expressing their humility, they are expressing that they have nothing, but it is Allah that possesses everything. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab on this particular ayat is to say that there is no promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He would continue giving success to the believers, except what is mentioned in this particular ayat. Now here, the wazifa that's mentioned here is that of La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab towards the end of his life abundantly then started making talqeen and instructing the people, whoever would come, that they should recite Sayyidul Istighfar and La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. Hazrat Wala also, now when we read this here, we just don't read it customary. We're supposed to think that what am I actually saying? What is the meaning of inni kuntu minadh dhalimin? Hazrat Wala is speaking about the incident of Dhunnun Misri. At that time when he was in Egypt, and the people there were afflicted with drought and famine. So much so that people became so restricted that everybody left their houses and came out to the outskirts, started begging and pleading to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless them with beneficial rains. At that time he was also there, but the people cried and they begged, but the heavens did not have mercy on their condition, and not a single drop came down from the heavens and the skies. At that time Dhunnun Misri says, but it is impossible for the madad of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come. Allah's madad and help will not come in the presence of a sinner, gunahgar. And I don't think there's anybody more sinful than myself. I am the sinner, let me leave, and Allah will have pity on these people. Nevertheless, he left, he packed up his things and he left. As he leaves, what happens? The rains start then coming down. In fact, somebody even posed this question to Hazrat Tanvi, asking him this year, but was it really like this year that Dhunnun Misri was such a type of a sinner that eventually when he left from that gathering, then the rain came? Now Hazrat Tanvi gave whatever answer he did give, but I am telling you people that what is opened up here to me is that he confessed and acknowledged his sins in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that was so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was so liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he chose to practice on this great sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which is i'tiraf-e-dhunub, which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam himself taught us, that a'tarifu bidambi, that I acknowledge and I confess my sins, wa abtahilu ilayka ibtihal al-mudhnib al-dhalil, and I cry out to you the crying of a disgraced, a sinner, a lowly sinner. وأدعوك دعاء الخائف الضرير ودعاء من خضعت لك ركبته وفاضت لك عبرته وذل لك جسمه ورغم لك أنفه. So how Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam himself said, أعترف بذنبي, confession of sins, acknowledgement of sins, teaching the ummah this great sunnah. So by just merely customary reading, nothing will happen. People read it thousands of times. No. But it has to be coupled with अपने को नेस्त व नाबूद करके फना के साथ पढ़ना चाहिए. That a person has to have annihilation of oneself, humility to its greatest. he has to lower himself completely in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he is reading these type of articles and sentences in the court of Allah, crying in front of him, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. तो उन्होंने मिटाया, अल्लाह ताला ने बढ़ाया. They lowered themselves, annihilation of oneself completely and totally, and Allah Ta'ala then granted them honor completely and totally. जिसने मिटाया अपना नाम और निशा, हफ्त इकलीम का बना सोता, that person that had humbled himself completely and totally, then Allah Ta'ala gave him so much of honor. Actually, Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saab's couplets, these, he had extracted it, keeping in front of him the ash'ar of Hazrat Haji Imdadullah, that मैं तो अपना नाम और निशा मिटा बेटा, शोहरा उड़ा दिया मेरा किसने, that I am sitting here hidden, I have rubbed away and erased all traces of myself, that nobody even knows who I am, when I came, when I went. I just wonder how and who has made me so popular. Now in this Qurbani and Udhiyah, what is it all about? It is about learning this great lesson of understanding yourself to be weak and in front of Allah to be helpless, that you are asking Allah complete and total humility, and to make this nafs of yours muwahhid, that it only understands and believes and asks from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So somebody wanted to take that attribute and this attribute, somebody said this and somebody said that. But Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to say, I had my focus on his heart, asking and crying to Allah that Allah bless me with that dawlat which is in his heart, the treasure of tawakkul, full trust in Allah, that dawlat and treasure of qana'at and complete, satisfaction. You say contentment. Qanaat, contentment. Someone came and they gave a gift to Hazrat Tanvi saying that, listen, this is for you, or if you want you can put it in your madrasa also, not a problem. And then he leaves. But Hazrat Tanvi then finds out this to be troublesome. That, listen, I am in so much of need myself. My madrasa is in so much of need myself. Okay, do I put it here or do I put it there? Do I put it there or do I put it here? Oh no, what's happening here? Chalo, tumhara hadiya wapas. Muji mein tashwish. Take your gift and go, because it is making my heart restless and completely confused. This peace that I had in my heart and complete focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now I'm confused. This year, that day, my heart is and mind is completely troubled. He takes it, he returns it, and he says, addressing Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib, that Wasiullah, see, this year came, it was not against my principle and it was not the right way there. So listen, I returned it. If Allah Ta'ala so wishes, it is going to come back to me according to my usul. And sometime later, somebody comes and someone comes and give, or whatever it is. He calls again and says, Wasiullah, come, see, it has come. And it has come according to usul. So this was the tawheed. And not attaching hopes and not having your focus or your hearts or your desires fastened up with the wealth of people. No, your attention and your focus is on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On one occasion, Hazrat Tanvi's wife remarked regarding some lady or something, and coincidentally that family lady then passed. So Hazrat Tanvi then said, Falani, calling that woman, saying to her that, listen, she's saying this about you and this and that and the other. Hazrat Tanvi's wife immediately saying, what are you doing and what are you saying? Are you embarrassing me or this? We said, no, it is nothing like that. Let's clear the matter up. How can we leave it for tomorrow? Tomorrow on the day of Qiyamah, clear it up now in whatever it is. Finish it off and finish. It's over. Take it out of your heart and your mind. Let the heart and the mind be pure and clear. So this is how he even amali taur par, that practically he had demonstrated all these things, that it was in the kitabs, he lived it, but he showed it also to everyone. Someone came about and said, Hazrat, I want to give you something every month. So he told the person then that, listen, you must calculate your wage, that how much are you earning per day, and then you saying you want to give and you want to give so much and this and that. Listen, all that is not accepted. Listen, this is what I'm telling you, this is how you do it. If you really want to give, this is what you do. Then take 1 day's salary and you can hand that over, but that must also only be done once in the month, not more than that. Not more than that. Now look at this type of beniyazi and type of independence and such a so example's sake, it was 300 rupees for the month. So if you really want to give, come about and come away and give 10 rupees, that's it. So tawakkul and tawazu. Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and humility. So in this particular qissa, there is so much of ibrat and lesson and hidayat for those who are seeking hidayat. So a person needs to come out of these plans and schemes that he's making for himself, and he needs to hand himself over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that what is Allah ta'ala going to plan for me? Did you not see how Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam did not plan for himself? He did not worry about all of that. However, he just handed himself totally to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He put his full trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then what was the end result of all of this here is that he was blessed with salama, with peace, and he was honored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah ta'ala let his praise continue for him ala mamarril ayyam, so long as time will remain. Until the day of Qiyamah, he will be remembered by this ummah when they read the durood. So Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, Allah Ta'ala has alerted us, has commanded us that we should not come out from his millat. And we should consider greatly and keep in our hearts and in our minds. We must make riayat of it, that how he had made and kept our name. How Allah Ta'ala has said, Millata abikum Ibrahim, huwa sammakumul muslimina min qabl. Therefore, it is the right upon every such person who understands himself to be on this path of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, that he should absolve himself of his own things that he is putting together. And when it comes from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he should not fight with that type of decision from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, when Maulana Ali Miya Saheb, Qari Tayyab Saheb and them used to come, definitely Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to quote this text of Al-Qawlul Jameel to them, that washabin nas ala sharitatain, that listen, when you accompany people, then let it be with 2 prerequisites, and that is qat'ut tama' anin nas wa amma fi aydin nas wa husnul khulq ma'a kulli ahad, that do not have any hopes attached to what people have. So you must cut that off completely, because your hopes, your desires, your need is in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But after you have done that, it doesn't mean that you treat people badly. or you become so independent that your attitude toward them is so indifferent. No. وَحُسْنُ الْخُلْقِ مَعَ كُلِّ أَحَدٍ. After all of that, you should have good character with people. So Beniyazi, total and complete independence, but together with that, coupled with good character and good akhlaq. Allah Ta'ala inspire us and give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making amal. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.